Hey gang, welcome back. I know it's been a couple of days, I apologize, but real life called, and unfortunately this is a side activity. I wish I could do this full time, I have to pay the bills and such, but that'll probably never happen, let's be honest about it. So, let's get on down to business, shall we? Turns out that a Dutch space company named Mars One, founded by Bas Lansdorp, I probably messed his name up, that's okay, announced the plan to settle Mars. That's right, to settle Mars, and not in, 2040, 2050, 21 something. In 2023, 11 years from now. A lot of people were very skeptical to begin with. I'm still a bit skeptical, but mostly because of two factors. One, there was no initial information put out that, how they were going to do it and such. Two, the space trip was estimated taking 7 years to get there. And three, one of their spokesperson and people and actively involved individuals is Paul Romer, however you pronounce his last name, which, if you don't know, was the concept man and creator and everything of the hit TV reality show Big Brother. So a lot of people are throwing up red flags. Oh, bullshit! No. This is a publicity stunt or some other, let's see how gullible the people on the internet and around the world are, type thing. And 7 years in space, to me, it was like, wait a minute, it doesn't take near that long. It never has to get to Mars. So I had the opportunity and did a little digging. As it turns out, back in 1976, the Mars 2 and Viking landers that went to Mars took less than a year to get there. By current modern technologies, NASA estimations put it that with current technology it would take 214 to 260 days to reach Mars, dependent on its position and Earth's position in our orbits around the Sun. So yeah, 7 years, big WTF of a difference. But in my digging, I also found they're not saying it's going to be 7 years in space traveling to get there. Only 7 months. Now, how are they going to do all this? Well, for one, they're planning 4 people to go and permanently live on Mars. That's one of the kickers. There's no return trip. It's a one-way ticket. The colonists going to Mars will go there to live on Mars. That's it. You don't come back. Yeah. Wrap your head around that one. And there's no governmental money going to be involved. It's all going to be done through private funding and investment. How? Because they plan on making every bit of the program, from the concept, the development, the construction, everything here on Earth, to the launch and everything that goes on there, open to the public viewing. That's right, it's basically going to be a Let's Go Settle Mars reality full-time TV show. There's actually discussion whether it'll be in episodes available at certain times, or if they're going to do a channel for it. They're still in the planning phase. However, in my digging, I found a number of things. For one, they've already been to see almost all the major aerospace companies around the world, thus providing that proof and documentation that via the different companies can actually provide everything that in their plan is needed to go to and construct and settle a colony on Mars. Now keep in mind, we say colony, we're not talking hundreds of people, we're talking about four folks. 4. To go and live on Mars. Plus letters of interest signed by these companies, provided by these companies, that they want to take part in this and are interested in providing what's needed to get it done. Alright, starting to take a little better shape. With only 7 months, which is realistic, 214 to 260 days. There's the technology to do it, the intent, and the companies that manufacture the stuff are interested in providing it. Alright, well, what about time? Are we just going to send people to Mars? No. And I found out what the time plan is. They're going to start construction here on Earth over the next 2 to 4 years, and in 2016, the plan is to launch the first rocket to Mars. That'll have a communication satellite that'll go into orbit and supply pods for the landings. 2 years later, in 2018, the next rocket will be launched with a planetary rover, a large planetary rover, not one of the little remote things that NASA's been using for years. That's, maybe yay big, but a large planetary rover vehicle targeting some of the better areas NASA found with their little rovers to select and indicate the site for where the colony is going to be put in. In 2020, the first settlement components are scheduled to arrive with another rover. Well, this rover not for exploration. They're just going to have the habitat pods, the life support system, solar panels, things like that. And an operator here on Earth will use the second rover, plus like an inspection arm and stuff on the first one, to remotely construct the modular colony. Actually, you'll pull it out of the storage compartments on the landing pods and begin assemble it and put it together. I've actually got a decently reasonable sounding plan to it. The final step, in December of 2022, the first 4 people will launch and head to Mars. 7 months on the rocket in their life capsule with a landing pod and additional supplies, who will then land at the Mars colony and take up residence. In addition to this, it turns out the plan is that for every 2 years after that, additional modules, supplies, and an additional 2 to 4 people will be sent to Mars, establishing a growing permanent colony on Mars, supported and supplied from here on Earth with rockets every 2 years, and all of it feeding back for our TV and video enjoyment, and funded therein. That's actually sounds like a reasonably doable plan. It actually, now personally, yes, I'm still skeptical, and I think this may turn out to just be another large BS sandwich to be fed to test the gullibility of the populace around the world. That's frequents TVs and the internet. But if they can make it work out, that would be pretty interesting. But, and one of the things that still throws up a big red flag to me is the selection of who's going to go. Not scientists and X, Y, Z, though they may be scientists and such. You and I are going to be provided with lists of applicants. And they're going to base, in large part, who goes on public selection. Alright, personally I'm thinking Mr. Romer himself, Mr. Seacrest, this Cookie or whoever she is, I heard a lot about it someplace in Jersey, and one of the Kardashian girls would be perfect for the first 4. That way if there's some catastrophic failure, there's no loss to civilization. My little pun throw in there. So, moving on to that, if they could actually make this work, we'd have a, don't know about viable, but growing settlement colony on Mars. Well, that's what I want to throw at you. Bounce around in your noggin a bit, rattle some thoughts loose. One, what do you think of the possibility of an actual colony on Mars? Now, keep in mind, it's a one-way ticket. If something happens, there's no coming back, and if some critical thing happens and a certain skill is needed there, somebody would have to be sent from, a volunteer would have to be found from Earth and sit there taking 7 months or more to arrive. You can't just order pizza, or a plumber, or a doctor. So, keeping that in mind as well, would you go? Given the opportunity, would you jump onto this and go become a permanent resident on Mars? Or if not, what would it take for you to jump onto something like this and go to Mars? Leave me a comment down below. Let me know your thoughts and inclinations on it. Hit the like or the dislike if you're so into, and subscribe if you want to. And I'll catch you next time. Throw some more random information at you and hopefully get a few more thoughts in your brain. Thanks.